Well, peace, fam. How's everyone doing? Happy Friday. This is Oracle Deborah with the Oracle Deborah podcast on YouTube. I just uploaded a video. It won't come out till later today. It was raw. um, it was very raw, but I'm transparent here. I don't hide behind masks or shame or anything like that. I just very transparent, though I try to present as well as possible, but it was raw. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing, of course. This channel takes a minute to do what it's going to do, but I think when I take some things off my plate, I'll have more time to be a little more creative. It's very difficult to be creative right now because everything is pushed to the limits, and as is my time and my attention. So I need to remove some things from my plate so that I can get the creative juices flowing again. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. Anyway, I don't have a lot of time, so I'm really going to try and make this very quickly. I'm looking at some notes I wrote down in today very quickly. There is, you know, um, I'm going to share my screen. A lot of hoopla surrounding um, this new statute in Times Square. I'm going to, oops, crap. Let me stop sharing. Let me try this again. Try this again. I mean, I had the right thingy, but I did not. Um, yeah, let's do it that way. Okay, so this is the statute. It's 12-foot bronze statue of a Black woman um, that's been unveiled in Times Square. Now, I'm showing this video because the Black conservative was really very negative about it. But I do want to reference another article. And as a matter of fact, let me do this. Let me share this article because they are liking this article. Let's see. Okay, good. They're liking this article, this statute to Letitia James, who is the New York Attorney General. She's the one that's had, all these cases against Donald Trump. And now she's in trouble for, I believe, mortgage fraud. I just want to say, which I found out recently, Letitia James is not foundational Black American. Let me just throw that out there. Okay. I feel like we need to reveal everything since we are in the age of truth, the age of Aquarius. She is not foundational Black America. I believe she is Trinidadian. So I just think people need to see that. Now, outside of that, um, she is going back and forth with Donald Trump still. And so, yeah, there are conservatives who are going to link this person with, a Letitia James likeness, um, and have very, very mean things to say. Now, the Black male conservative will honestly, at this point, I've seen will say and do anything that mimics the white male conservative. They just have no filter, no code whatsoever. And I'm talking about, I think these are the far right wing conservatives who are Black males. They just go with everything and, justify everything that they say. Okay. Justify everything that is said. They go with the talking points and that's it kind of thing. Um, So I don't think there's anything more. Thomas J. Price is the artist, and he's British. Okay, so I think he's mulatto, a mulatto man and British. He has these statues all over the world, actually, in different countries, in different walkways of Black women. Not all of them are like this. Some are young, some are on the phone. They say this woman looks like she has an attitude. When I looked at the face, I didn't, but maybe when you look behind and the way her hands are on her back, then that might say she has an attitude. But let me just say this. I remember years ago, I was working for a law firm, and this one of the top partners wanted to, I'm gonna stop sharing the screen, wanted to work with me. And so he asked around about me. And he came back the next day and he says, I asked, he was very transparent. He said, I asked around about you, and I'm trying to share the screen. So let me not do that because I can't find. Let me see. Give me 1 second as I'm muck around here and get this right. Okay. Um, so he said, I asked around about you, and the word is you have an attitude. This is what he said to me. This was many years ago. And I was a young mother working every day, did my thing. And this particular law firm was highly toxic, and asked me why I stayed. I do not know. But they were always coming at me in this firm. The administrator was a white gay male, and he was also a narcissist. And they were always picking fights with me, and I was standing up for myself, to be honest. And ever since I had a child, I always stood up for myself because I always felt it was important that I not cow down to anyone in front of him, because otherwise he would treat me the same way. I don't know why I'm looking over there. Anyway, sorry. But anyway, he said, I hear you have an attitude. This is what the people are saying around the firm, that you have an attitude. And then he paused and he looked at me. He said, but he didn't pause. He said, but personally, I like a person with a little attitude because it shows they have respect for themselves. This is what he said to me. And this was a white male. This was a high level partner in the firm. He had his own practice, and he didn't like who he didn't like, and he would go all the way to the home office if he wanted to fire someone, and he did. And he fired a Black woman, a Black secretary. I'm guessing she was in cahoots with this administrator who kept a lot of mess going in the firm. But he went, and because this administrator tried to protect her and prevent him from firing her, and he went all the way to the home office and had this chick fired. Um, and he wanted to work with me because of my work, because of my level of my skill level, right? It's great, right? That's what I put myself out in the world to do. And we worked together, and he had his moments where he was firing off and things, and I always stood my ground and spoke with him with the same respect that I spoke with everyone else. And he would have these outbursts, and I would reply the way that I would normally reply. And I remember in one particular instance, he flipped out, over something he thought I didn't do or did do, or, didn't understand why things turned out the way that they did. And I never forget, I wrote him an email in reply to all of that. And then I said in the email, I was like, look, whatever happens, happens. But I know, I said something to the fact like, I know that this pairing was meant to be. So I'm going to continue to operate and conduct myself in a way, that I plan to based on the circumstances and the way they played out. Whatever I said, it was me. It was very intuitive me. And I thought, this is it. We're gonna, and the administrator was happy about this pairing because he thought he could kill two birds with one stone. She doesn't back down to our craziness, and this man doesn't back down. So they figured they could kill two birds with one stone. But when that man walked in the office later that day, he walked in, he said, "Good afternoon," and went straight into his office and went about his day, and not another word was spoken. Not one. Not one. And we went on about our day and continued to have a great rapport. And when he left, he, he poured all kinds of gifts in my lap. And, he was going out on his own and doing his thing and took literally all of the clients of the firm with him, every single last one. He had his own practice area, and every single last one of his clients went with him. So, anyway, I just wanted to tell that little story about the people who keeps on you saying Black women have an attitude and this, that, and the other. And I explained to him, I said, I have a child, and he's very important to me. So I'll work hard while I'm here, but when I leave, I don't want lingering thoughts and messages and drama leave, following me at home. When I leave, I leave. When I come here, you have my undivided attention, da 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 da. And he was like, excellent. He was like, there's nothing more important than family. And yes, when you're here, yes, I will expect that of you, but that will be it. He and I had the same type of mentality. You understand what I'm saying? And it worked, to the chagrin of all the messy people in that firm. To their chagrin, it worked. And then all of his cohorts, he made them, when there was events, he was like, make sure you give her the largest flowers, or the largest, they would have a breakfast for us, and make sure they would grovel over me. These partners were groveling over me because of him. And I was like, these people couldn't stand me. I knew that. But because of him, he didn't play. They bowed to him. And so they left me alone the time that I was, working for them. So anyway, I just wanted to just put that story out there. I know it may not mean nothing to anyone, but um, he said what I always felt inside. It's like, we need to have respect for ourselves. And that gets translated into the word of, you have an attitude. Okay. Now, I can't speak for all Black women and why they do what they do and the way that they do it. I'm not all Black women. Okay. But I know my character, and I know the character line that I come from. You feel me? So, anyway, I had to just kind of tell that story. Now, this Black conservative, this guy, you know, some of a lot of his things, like, I'm on point about, on the conservative side, but he really went all in on this video. He called this woman obnoxious, and yeah, several of them said, it looked like she doesn't have a brassiere, a bra on. She has these tight pants on. She has this t-shirt. Honestly, she looks like a woman who has on maybe some sweats, or maybe not jeans. I thought it was jeans at first because jeans are tight, right? But maybe some tights and I was more as like was the wrinkly t-shirt, kind of looked like someone who ran out basically to go to the grocery store or to walk the dog, or something like that. Just not someone who would get dressed up and go to work. Like, this is not your work outfit, right? And I think people, two parts. People were upset because of the outfit, because she didn't have it looks like as if she doesn't have a bra on. I might have been more upset if they had her in some crazy hair, looking crazy. That would have pissed me off, because everything is about hair in this world. Okay, we get discriminated against because of our hair. And so the artist respected the crown and made sure that her crown was on point. Now, the other piece in this, people did have a problem with the outfit, right? Which this shocked me. I'm not going to lie, it shocked me, because that's not what you would normally see in a statue, right? And artists are saying, the purpose of statues is to aspire, right? Well, why do we have a statue of murderers and rapists? Are we aspiring to be that? Are we? And you say, oh, we're taking it down. But these Black conservatives are upset because they took down the Columbus statue. This man never even set foot in America. And they have created a whole lie for the past 60 years that Columbus discovered America. He never even stepped foot here. So that lie alone should tell you, take his ass off. Why is he on here? Because he found the islands? He found he found them in error, the islands. Never even, I think he made it as far as maybe Cuba. And you're saying he discovered Americana Pana. He did not. We were already here. So the fact that they're upset about that is ridiculous. Okay, so there's like, okay, well, if you want to take down Columbus, well, why would you put her up there? And so this statue has sparked all kinds of ugly comments, mainly 99% of the comments is because she's overweight. She doesn't have, uh, a fit body. Okay. A lot of the women, a few of the women were like, why would you make a mockery of us? Quite a few. Most of the women were like, why are you making a mockery of us? One Christian woman clapped back at me because she said, she went from a Christian view. All of these things are just idols. I mean, she was like an extreme Christian, like a fanatic. This is idol worship. It's just so ridiculous. Really, really ridiculous. Uh, so she went from, this is idol worship. And no, she kept pushing, like, she's like, I'm not trying to offend. No, you are offending Black women because you're upset that this statue is a representation of an overweight Black woman. There is an obesity problem in America, and not because everybody is sitting around eating chips and ice cream. They flood us with corticosteroids in our system. The medical system puts corticosteroids in everything, even a nose spray. I had to specifically tell them I am allergic to corticosteroids. So they would stop prescribing me medications with this stuff in there. And of course, I had to do my part too. I cannot eat things out of the bag that is going to flare up inflammation. I changed my diet. I try to eat citrus every day, especially during those seasons when, my sinus seasons or whatever, or, when allergy season, things like that. It's important that I eat a piece of citrus, every day, even just a slice of grapefruit, maintains my sinuses because I was sick with sinuses for 20 years and the medical community did nothing but do what? Prescribe me nose sprays with corticosteroids in them. Not to mention the fact that every time I was injured or if I had a fall, they were flooding my body with injections of corticosteroid. Corticosteroid causes all kinds of weight gain. So you poison our food. We know that. They've been poisoning our food. So the food is poisoning us. They were injecting the animals with all kinds of what do you call it? The oh shoot. Freaking what is it? They were injecting the cows and the chickens, making them fatter. Um, you all know what I'm talking about. But they were doing all of that. They put that in the chickens. We eat the chickens, we eat the cow. And what do you think is happening? We're ingesting all of that estrogen, all of those, they probably were ingesting them with some steroids too, all kinds of stuff. We were eating that stuff. They poisoned our food. I don't even know half the food that I eat anymore if it's really food anymore. There is really no, they've killed the soil on our land. They've killed it. So anyway, There's a lot of reasons. Yes, some people might. It's the cookouts. Yep, the celebrations, all of that. Okay, it could be a ton of things, and it could also be her hereditary. And some families are big boned. Technically, I'm not. I got this size because of the steroids. That's how I got to this size. Because I've exercised all my life. Okay. So anyway, so all these comments, the woman came at me, and just like you people and this and that. And I was like, you are coming from this interpretation of the Bible that is basically stupid. I didn't say that to her, but it was basically stupid, right? Because who was worshiping this woman? But what I did hear or see on Facebook were let me see. What I did see on Facebook was, Black women saying, well, she looks like me. Well, great, she looks like me. Like, there were a lot of Black women saying, she looks like me. And I mean, if we're going to really be objective about this, she looks like a lot of us. If I put braids in my hair, she would look like me. My body type is not far from that. As a matter of fact, my arms are a lot bigger. My boobies are a lot bigger. Okay. And, you can muck around with the bottom part here and there, but essentially she's shaped like a lot of us. So I guess my question was, I think the initial question was why this is not normal. This is not normal for an artist to put a sculpture in the middle, of society, of your everyday people. But what if the everyday people was some old man with some wrinkled pants on his shirt and maybe had a hole in it and he was from some other country? He would be a cute old man. Honestly, that's what we would say. Oh, he's so cute. We accept things from about other cultures that we won't accept ourselves. Right? So you say, but this isn't a proper representation of Black women. It's not, but it's not that she doesn't look like your everyday Black woman, most. And not all of us are thick. There's a lot of women older and younger who are very fit. So, and he had other sculptures in other countries, in Italy and some other country, I think, where they were young girls who had like some of them had on baggy jeans. Yeah, these definitely are not jeans, but they could be those like maybe those tights that look like jeans. I don't know. That's what that reminded me of a little bit. But anyway, there were sculptures. I wish I could find there sculptures of other women um around the world of young girls, and some of them were on the phone, and yeah, it looked like your average young people who are on the phone. So now we're mad at that. Well, young people are on the phone all the time. Yeah, so you might say these young people are always on the phone. Yes, they are always on the phone. Everybody right now is always on the phone. I don't know if I can find that particular video. So let me see. Thomas J. Price. Let's see if we could find. Oops. Let's see. Let's see if we can find multiple ones of. I mean, he has quite a bit. And also the other thing people are saying, well, he's British. So yeah, the British are very racist. And this is how they feel about us. And that could very much be true, but no one has talked. Um, I'm going to share this screen too really quickly. I'm not justifying what he did or why he's doing what his purpose is. I don't know. No one's had that conversation. he had his little spiel, but you know, that's it. He had his little spiel, when he presented it, and that was it. So, these are some of his sculptures, right? So apparently he does a lot of the melanated women. All right. Honestly, this looks like Venus. Um, okay, so there's that with the hair. Okay. I like what he does with the hair, but I'm not gonna lie. All right, so here's this current one. I mean, to me, you look at her face. No, she looks war torn, worn and torn, just tired, just overworked. A lot of Black women are overworked. Okay. He had a man series. So are we going to be upset about these? I don't know. Because that would look like this man here, you know, I don't know. We could start judging, what they look like and whether they're, you know, a proper representation. I was trying to see some of these other ones. Sculpture, painting, work on paper. Let's see. In Florence. Here's one in Florence. Okay, so he did one of this girl. He did it in gold in Florence. Um, they didn't like that one. They were upset with that one. Let's see. Let's try this one. Okay, so here's one. V&A, South Kensington, wherever that is. So she's a little younger, a little more overweight, but you're every day. So, there's that. Let me look at this one. All right, so there's some matter of space. So this is maybe part of his man series. Okay. Um, okay, here's one. So, I mean, I don't know, are we thinking that this man just has something against Black women or Black people? It's, here's another one. She does, look, she has on high water. Okay. Right. See, there you go. She's got on high waters, hair done. He makes sure the hair is did. To me, that's the most important thing. You get us out here and you have us with all kind of crazy. The young girls are wearing their hair like the Josephine Baker thing. So, are we going to be upset about that? And she's got a little scrunchie going on back here. So there's that. Um, Here's busts of different melanated people. Okay, I guess she looks like she has an attitude too. She's fit. This is every day where someone going to, or coming from the gym. Okay. Plain shirts, nothing fancy. Are we looking for Beyonce? Or like, who are we looking for in these things? You know? So, this one's on a pedestal. Here's a large piece here. Here's a guy with some, you know, general sweats or whatever on. I mean, I don't think the guy has anything against Black women. I just don't. When you look at the whole body of his work, I don't. And to me, art is subjective, and it is seen through the eyes. And you might say, for statues, they're supposed to aspire. Well, maybe he's changing that. I think he's changing that. You know, I wasn't offended because I looked at the statue. I was like, oh, it looks like me. And I'm not offended by my body. See, we tell each other we need to, you need to accept yourself and accept your own body, but we really don't accept each other. So many people, so many Black women were, having a fit about how fat. this sculpt the sculpture was or is, and say, well, I'm not trying to offend you to my sister. Yes, yes, technically you are. You have a problem with overweightness, and we're saying we are overweight. It's just the way that it is. And I don't know. Did you know she doesn't have a bra on? Okay, I don't know what his reasoning for that is. I have to wear a bra, so I'm because like I said, it's not a perfect example of what my body is. Okay, so that would be a mess if I walked out into the to society with no brassiere on, as they say. But I'm not offended. Okay. But what I think is offensive is like the nasty comments. This looks like Queen Latifah, you know, like yeah. So honestly, the world has a problem with Black women, and they have a problem more specifically with overweight Black women. And here's how I saw it, and not just whites. Some Black males had some comments like, "Come on now, these are our sisters. They do better, they dress better," and it's true. It's not that it's not that what those particular Black men said weren't true. Okay, it is true. I'm just saying this is the artist representation, and it is a good likeness of a lot of Black women, our body types. So are we offended because this is what it is? A lot of Black men have been upset with Black women for years because of our body types, and talked about how we need to go to the gym and go running. And we go to the gym and go running, and then you tell us we have an attitude, and then you still migrate over to white women and Hispanic women and Asian women and every other kind of woman because now we have an attitude. But I'm going to go back to what my attorney says. It's not a problem if you have attitude. It shows you have a little respect for yourself. It shows you have some respect for yourself. If we're doing this because we think, well, Black men don't want us, they don't want us. They don't. This is why they are migrating. Not all of them. I'm just talking about the ones who don't. And I knew a man whose wife was 3 times bigger than me and loved her to death. Black. So, take it as you want, as you will. Rod Hayes had a different perspective on it. He was like, this is mama coming back and showing up, and he does. If you know anything about Rod Hayes, just go to his channel. He talks about it. He has a totally different perspective on the Black woman, loves the Black woman, and just felt like, yo, we're back. We've been through the middle, but here we are, standing tall. We have been holding it down. People want to forget that. We have been holding it down for the Black family. So, and our everyday silent heroines were looking after the family, looking after the parents, looking after the community, looking after other people out in the world. Every time I go out in the world, someone, white woman, white man, anybody, always are drawn to me because they want something from me. I know what that is. They want to feed off my energy in any way that they can. Healing people just in my presence. A lot of us are like that. We heal people. We are the silent healers. We are the silent heroines. Don't forget that, my sisters. We are good. We do add, and this is another thing these Black male conservatives, one of them actually called me a Black male. It was a boomer. He called me a flat out bitch. Because I would not about that. I just laughed at it. I was like, you're too old to be this emotional and to be overreacting like this. And he called me a flat out B. Sure did. But one of the Black conservatives, I can't remember which one it is, might have been the guy whose video I just showed. He said, why would you put someone like this in place of Christopher Columbus, who's added nothing? He said this quote, who's added nothing to this world, literally, end quote. You've added nothing to this world. So Black women, overweight Black women have added nothing to this world. Wow. Wow. That is the level of vitriol towards Black women. And so don't don't react to these things. Some Black women are upset because they're like, this is not a proper representation. This is not a proper representation of you. I get that. But a lot of us who have been in the trenches are coming out of the trenches, and this is what we look like. We've been in the trenches for the past 30 plus years, and this is what we look like. And mind you, let me just say this before I end this video. Mind you, I'll say this. Overweight, obesity is okay on white women, on light-skinned women, or mulatto women, and any other kind of woman in this world. It is only a problem and an offense when it's on Black women. If that is the only time where it's highly offensive. We want to put statues up there to pretend that we look like a Megan Thee Stallion, or a Megan, whatever the Jonathan Majors Megan. I can't think of her name. That, or the Beyonce, or a Diana. We want to put those figures up there as if they are the everyday woman. No, those women are not in the trenches. And they're not realistic. Our women are spending all their wealth trying to look like those women every day. The little girls getting off the school bus all have this hair in their hair, these extensions in their hair. A, that causes cancer, and B, costs their parents all kinds of money and time. White girls get off the bus with a stringy your hair, don't pay a penny. All their money is being plopped into a trust. You understand what I'm saying? So obesity is a problem, but it's just a problem on Black women. And I'll leave it there. Peace and blessings to everyone. I love you. Let me know what you think about this video. Peace, peace.